What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so sorry for the Hot Mess Express look, but I just got back from a 3.5 mile run. I might go on a second run later, and before y'all call me crazy, because I know I am, it's been kind of a mental struggle for me this week, and running helps me release any negative energy or just stressful thoughts. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. So today we are going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to become a runner. I get asked this a lot, like literally all the time. I just thought I would give you some tips and tricks while I go through my day and show you how I went from hating running, like I would not even think about it, to being super passionate about running and loving every second of it. So let's get started. All right, so now that I am ready for the day, even though I'm just going to the pool to do some work. So tip number 1 is pace yourself. One of the biggest things that knocked me off track for running was I went full force. Like once I got into it, once I decided to try to run, I literally went full force. I had no stamina, so being that I couldn't run, like I was constantly out of breath and I was trying to push myself way more than I could at the time, I failed. So I was like, who in their right mind would want to go through this? Pace yourself. Don't feel like you have to go out and run 3 miles your first time. Don't even go off miles. Don't go off time. Run because you just want to see, even if it's for 10-15 minutes. Just ease yourself into it. Another side note is that I guarantee you're going to hate it at first, especially if you don't do it, you don't enjoy it already. You're going to hate it, because my biggest thing was because I was overweight, because I had no stamina, because I didn't run. What happened was running, I was just out of breath all the time, and to me I was like, who would find this enjoyable, that you are struggling to breathe? Like, why does anyone find this fun? I am now a running connoisseur. I run all the time, every single day, 7 days a week, and recently I started running on my off days. I've decided to run twice a day. But I personally enjoy it. It's very good for me mentally, physically. So do what works for you. Just ease yourself into it. So I just finished putting out my newsletter, and I do a Motivation Monday newsletter. It's completely free. I just ask people for their email and I send it out every single Monday. I create it every week, like it's not some pre-created thing that I just send out for fun. I usually include a workout of the week, a self-care tip of the week, a quote of the week. And Monday's quote that I put on there is do more of what makes you happy, and like also about like trying new things. And so my next tip, I guess, would be, if you're nervous about doing it, just okay, whinge. All right, enough. Just do it. You don't even know how it's going to turn out. Yes, it does suck at first. I'm not going to sugarcoat that in any way, shape, or form. Yes, it does suck, but like the more you train your body, the more you're going to realize that running is so freeing, and it really is a journey in itself, and just a really positive experience that I went through, from hating running to learning to love running. So try something new, go out there and just do it. Put your mind at ease, just do it. All right. So I finished more brainstorming on just like content creation and trying to get my life together for you guys, and really try and grow into the entrepreneur I aspire to be. But my next tip is interval training. Interval training has been my biggest help when getting involved with running. So at first I would just start based on time. I would, run 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds, run 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds. And I would do that for a minute. And then the following week, I would do it, run 45 seconds, walk 30 seconds, run 45, walk 30. And I kind of did that to build my stamina. And it was also like a fun little game. Also, interval training is really good for you. I still do it. Sometimes I just run the mile straight because I have the stamina now, but other times I still do interval training because you're elevating your heart rate and then bringing it back down to elevate it again. So it's like a more effective way for fat loss. Like in my experience, it was a more beneficial way in fat loss. And some people, might say that it's not, and but for me that was very beneficial. It's definitely been the best way to train running and to build my stamina for sure. And then on the days where I would get bored on relying on time, I would use my music. And what I would do is during the slower parts of the song, like usually the verses, I would walk. And then so I finished more brainstorming on just like content creation and trying to get my life together for you guys, and really try and grow into the entrepreneur I aspire to be. My next tip is interval training. Interval training has been my biggest help when getting involved with running. At first, I would just start based on time. I would, run 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds, run 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds. The following week, I would do it, run 45 seconds, walk 30 seconds. And I kind of did that to build my stamina. Also, interval training is really good for you. I still do it. Sometimes I just run the mile straight because I have the stamina now, but other times I still do interval training because you're elevating your heart rate and then bringing it back down to elevate it again. So it's like a more effective way in my experience, it was a more beneficial way in fat loss. So it's definitely been the best way to train running and to build my stamina for sure. And on the days where I would get bored on relying on time, I would use my music. Is during the slower parts of the song, like usually the verses, I would walk, and then once the bridge started, because it kind of like picks up and the beat builds, then I would start to lightly jog. And then for the chorus, I would full on sprint, just train my body that way. And it became a fun little game, and it became more motivating to me. I did that interval training 4 to 5 days a week at first. I get a lot of questions in regards to how to grow stamina and how to really build your endurance to be able to just run. A client I built a nutrition and fitness plan for, and I guided her through the interval training, and she said she was so shocked when she was able to run like 15 minutes, 30 minutes without even stopping, because the interval training helped her, again, pace yourself and slowly build that endurance up over time. I just had to go pick up the mail, and I got my pre-workout from Alani Nutrition. I got the Hawaiian shaved ice flavor. I have not tried this one yet, so I'm super excited to try it. Perfect time for another tip. Another big question I get is how I stay motivated while I run. Create a music playlist that really motivates and inspires you. My biggest thing with creating a music playlist is usually a lot of EDM remixes are my go-to, and the reason is I just need a positive, uplifting beat to keep me going, especially if I'm interval training. But I like to listen to new music just in my free time, and if it like motivates me and is just like a good, upbeat, positive song that I could run to, I add it to my cardio list. Creating a music playlist has really helped me, so I encourage you all to really take time and create a playlist that suits you, because putting on random today's top hits and all that, that's gonna get boring. Make a playlist completely catered to you and your run. Okay, so I was supposed to give an additional tip on my run because I just got back from my second run. Also, excuse the mess because I'm doing laundry and all that. My last tip would be give yourself time. Progress does not happen overnight, and change will not happen overnight. If you think you're going to do interval training for 2 or 3 weeks and all of a sudden be able to run 4 or 5 miles, it's not saying it's not possible. You have to be very realistic on your goals, because if you're not, then that's when you set yourself up for failure. Personally, when I first started trying to get into running, I set my expectation too high for myself, so I pushed myself too hard, and in the end I gave up, and I was just resting every day to the point where I gave up. One of my final tips for you: be realistic on your goals. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. If you do, you're going to overwork your body and you're going to just feel like tired and unmotivated. So try and be realistic. Set a new goal each week or every 2 weeks, whether it's how much time you're running, how many days a week you're running, or how many miles, whatever the case may be. Even do it based on the songs, because when I would get bored of straight interval training and I would, switch on and off from walking on the slow parts of songs to running on the fast parts of songs, soon, before I knew it, I was running for half the song, then the full song, and then I was running for 2 songs, and then all of a sudden I was running for my whole playlist. I was like shocked. Be realistic on your goals and you won't disappoint yourself. That is it for this video. I'm going to end it here because I think those are mainly the tips I have gone off of. Again, they're my tips from my own personal experience. Everyone's different, everyone's body is different, everyone's motivation and ways of doing things is different. So don't feel like you have to use these tips in order to be able to run. Just do whatever works for you. Use these tips if you want. If you do, let me know. I'd love to hear if they work for any of you. But on that note, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.